Hey everyone.
Hey everyone.
Welcome back to our channel. Today it's gonna be a little bit different, but before we continue, let me say this. If you are new to our channel, we would like to welcome you. This is my husband Brandon.
Hey everybody.
And of course I'm Nancy. And this is a vlog about our family. My husband is a pastor and we are in the ministry. We have two beautiful children. Asher, that's 14, and Nabi, that just turned 10. Okay, so today is gonna be a little bit different. This is the third part of our love story, but I accidentally deleted the other one that I had, so we have to redo it. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so on the last video of our love story, we mentioned that it ended when Brandon came over to my house for the first time to eat with us. So he did not have his family in California. They were all here in South Carolina, and Daddy really, really liked Brandon. He thought he was a very sweet young man, well educated and well manners. So why are you smiling?
At first I was a little intimidated.
Yeah.
Reminded me of my dad. My father-in-law and my dad both very muscular. My dad passed away in 2001, but my father-in-law was muscular like my dad was, big arms and, kind of tough, and so I didn't know how to take him at first, and so...
Short but mighty.
Yeah, short and mighty. Like David in the Bible.
Yeah.
But but after I got to know him, I mean, we really hit it off, and we talked a lot, spent a lot of time together.
Yeah.
And me and him like to drink coffee together.
Yes. All right. So,
go ahead.
he ended up coming over. My mom had cooked some of her delicious tacos, her own recipe. They're so good. He came over, and Dad was really just happy to have him. Dad is like this. Once he really likes you, he really likes you. So there was something about Brandon that he really liked. Well, little did I know that he had mentioned to my brother Isaac, he's like, that's gonna be Nancy's husband. He's gonna be Nancy's husband. And I remember he came to the house, he ate, we talked, and then I believe I was getting sick that day, huh? Yeah, I was not feeling great. I remember that.
Yeah.
Remember? I wasn't feeling great, so I was kind of getting sick. Well, he came, and
I remember you were laying on the couch.
Yeah, going back and forth. Yeah, I was laying on the couch, but I really wanted to see him. So,
I think I took the trolley and the bus or something.
No, you took the trolley and then Dad picked you up.
Yeah.
So, anyways, came over, we had dinner, and then the next day, we invited him to church. And that was the first time he was going to be in the Spanish-speaking church. So he came to church on Sunday, and I was leading praise and worship that day. And
by the way, it's the same church organization that I was raised in, but Spanish speaking.
Yes. So yeah, you're right. So I was very nervous. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I started singing "Power in the Blood" in Spanish, and of course he knew that song. And well, we're Pentecostal, so if you are Pentecostal, you know what that means, that he was, praising the Lord.
That was a great service.
So I remember he kept coming on Sundays. He couldn't come on Wednesdays because he was also a member of his church. So he would go in the mornings to the English speaking, and then in the evenings he would come to our church because they didn't have service in the evenings. I think they only had him like once a month, which was their family night, and that's when he would not come on Sundays. But he started coming, we started talking more. And one of my good friends invited, well, of course, we were invited to her wedding. And then she gave me the invitation, and then she's like, oh, by the way, I added you a +1. I was like, oh. And I looked at her and I said, for him? And she's like, oh yeah, for him. I said, okay, good. So I can bring him along.
And the wedding was at La Jolla.
Yes,
right?
San Diego,
La
La
Jolla
Jolla.
Beach.
So we that Saturday we went and picked him up. He had his suit on. He was smiling, all dressed up, really, really, really nice. And I remember he told me, he's like, Nancy, I want to talk to you about something. And I knew, I was like, he's gonna ask me out. He's going to ask
If
me
you only
out.
knew how nervous I was.
So I was like, he's gonna ask me out for sure. And so I said, okay, well, when? He's like, later. I said, okay. So the wedding was outdoors. It was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful setting. And
Because it overlooked high up, like on a cliff,
Yes.
overlooking the ocean.
yes, it was beautiful. So we were sitting there, and then he kept doing this. And now that I know him, is when it's a little bit like either nervous or he wants to say something. So are you gonna cry?
No, I'm embarrassed.
You embarrassed? Oh, okay. So anyways, he's just rocking. I'm like, what is the matter with him? So, but this time I have a cousin right across from me. She's like, is he your boyfriend? I said, no, we're just talking. And we were really just getting to know each other. And anyways, that day, he told me, he's like, well, I need to talk to you about something. And I looked at him and I said, well, what do you need to talk to me about? I touched his arm like this. And then he's like,
I probably lost it.
no, he's like, do you want to talk about it now? I was like, yeah, let's talk about it now. He said, well, come here. So he got
walked
me
under
up.
a tree.
We
I
went,
remember.
oh my goodness.
She can't believe I remember.
I can't believe you remember. He walked and took me down that tree, and then he said, well, he grabbed my hands, and I was like, oh my Lord. And then get this, Dad and Mom were there.
Yeah, I made a big move there.
Yeah.
That was a big step.
So he grabbed my hands and he's like, I want to know if you would like to be my girlfriend. And I looked at him and I said, yes. He said, yes. And then he turned red and I said, yes. And then I told him, but you need to ask my parents for permission. And he said, what do you mean? I told him, you need to talk to Dad. You need to ask him for permission for you and I to date. And he's like, okay. I said, when? And I asked him, when do you want to do it? He's like, tonight. I was like, oh my goodness, that was quick.
Oh, we won't waste any time.
So I said, okay. So the wedding ended, and Dad asked Brandon, do you want to come and drink coffee, or do you want me to drop you off? My dad was just, and then he went, oh, coffee. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. So then he told me, Brandon tells me, tell your parents that I want to talk to them right here. And I looked at him and I said, right now? He said, yeah. And I told Mom in Spanish, and Dad, Brandon quiere hablar con ustedes. Brandon wants to talk to the both of you. And then Dad went,
I remember that.
That's his little, icebreaker, I think. And then mom was like, ¿de qué? About what? And then I said, well, he just wants to talk. He just wants to talk to you, both of you. So we get home, they get coffee, and I think there was dessert involved, right? There was something involved besides coffee.
I don't
can't
know,
remember.
but the more time that it took, the more nervous I was.
Yes. So we get to the house, and then my brother was asked to translate, Isaac.
Oh, yeah.
And then Brandon, he sits down and gets on the edge of the couch and he said, well, I just want to talk to you. And I getting to know Nancy, and I think she's a beautiful girl. I think she's a beautiful woman. Woman of God, I think that's what he said. And then he's like, want to ask for permission to date your daughter. Now, get this, I had been single for 6 years before meeting Brandon. And I had been engaged prior to Brandon, broke off the engagement, didn't get married, and I was single for 6 years. And I waited for the Lord to send the right man, and he did on his timing. So we, usually Dad says, well, I'm gonna let her talk because she can do all the talking, referring to Mom. And Mom said, that's fine. I think she did say that it was a little bit too soon, but she understood. But she was okay with it as long as we followed some rules. Both of my parents are very, well, back then. Back then, they were very strict.
Strict, but
they just had boundaries for us.
Doing it, what would you call it? Like the old-fashioned way? I mean, but doing it like a...
Yeah, I will say that.
In
a godly way. Maybe.
Yeah.
So...
Just keeping everything in order and...
So, Dad said you can date her, but there's going to be boundaries. You're going to have a chaperone when you guys go out. You guys, just holding hands and, as long as we set boundaries, he was okay with it. And then Dad says, but if you married her, do not take her to South Carolina. Do you remember that? And Mom's like, you're jumping way ahead.
He was already making that joke because he was so afraid that I was going to bring her over here, which I did.
So, anyways, Dad, just made the joke. Little did he knew that a week later, Brandon, let me just go back a little bit. Tell him what, don't give like the exact details, but tell him that you had to come back to South Carolina for what reason?
I'm not going to go into it, just sum it up. I had gotten in trouble. I've been in trouble all my life pretty much. And so when I had left South Carolina, I was running from the Lord, not saved, wound up in California, which is where I gave my life to the Lord. But when I left South Carolina, I had been on probation, and I hadn't been showing up to meetings and getting in trouble. So basically, probation officer was trying to get a hold of me and couldn't. And so when I left the state, that's another big way of breaking probation. So when I was in California, I was going to have to come back and take care of that because, I was going to be in big trouble. So anyway, I know Nancy got very nervous about that because I had to come back over here not knowing.
Don't jump ahead.
Oh.
All right, so on a Tuesday. On a Tuesday, around Tuesday, I can't remember exactly. He calls me and tells me, Nancy, I need to talk to you about something very important. I said, okay. It was a week later. I said, okay. I said, yeah, that's fine. I said, but it's very important. It's something serious that I need to talk to you about. I said, okay. So he comes over, and I told Mom, I said, Brandon is coming. She's like, that's fine. He can come. I had to confirm with my parents it was okay for him to come. And they said it was fine. So he came, and he's like, I just want to talk to you about something. And he opened up and told me that he was in trouble for not reporting to his
probation
officer
and leaving the state.
And then I looked at him and I said, well, what does that mean? Then he's like, well, I have to go back to South Carolina. When he told me that, my heart just sunk. I was like, oh. And then he's like, I have to go to South Carolina, but I've been praying. And he's a crier. He cries. Oh.
Because I remember where the Lord brought me from.
So he's like, I've been praying and I know what I have to do. And I said, okay. And I said, but then he said, but let me ask you this first. Will you wait for me if I have to serve 5 years? And I looked at him and I didn't even question it. I said, yes, I'll wait on you. I'll wait on you for you have to serve time. So he looked at me and then he grabbed me and he's like, stand up. I said, okay. So I stood up and then we were under a tree again, under the tree.
In the front of their house.
In front of my parents' house. And then he asked me, he's like, would you marry me? And I was a little bit shocked. I was like, and I looked at him and I said, yes, I'll marry him. I knew he was the one that God, had for me. And I knew he was the man that I had been praying for. All the 5 things that I prayed for when I waited for 6 years were all the things that he was. So I had no doubt that God had sent him to be my husband. So he hugged me and he did not kiss me. It took him a whole week to kiss me. I'm not even kidding you. A whole week. And that's something that I really liked. It's like we were getting to know each other and we were not even thinking about kissing, you know what I mean? It was just, we enjoyed our conversations.
We had these cute moments. My father-in-law and mother-in-law had this little table in front of their house, right beside the front door. A little table and 2 chairs, and
we sat there.
Nancy and I many times sit there and just talk and just getting to know each other. And that, honestly, it was one of the things that I fell in love with him even more. Just knowing that, we didn't have to be physical the entire time. It was just talking to each other, listening to each other, learning from each other. My English was pretty bad back then. Yeah,
very broken.
Broken English.
Yeah. So now I need to slow down, and I stutter sometimes when I'm trying to think in English and Spanish.
I got her converted now. She can say some good Southern.
That is not true.
Speak some good Southern
No,
words.
I will say some terms, but I'm not. No. I mean, I don't mind the South Carolina at all, but I'm not Southern.
No.
Not yet.
No, not.
So, anyways, he left. Wait a minute. 3 weeks passed by, and he told me, he said, well, I need to talk to your parents before I leave. I was like, oh my goodness. So how are we going to do this? I was very nervous. And this is the part that I love the most. My husband, we had it was the 4th of July. We had the entire family there, or most of the family on my dad's side.
And
they were there.
Our family,
it's a lot.
House full.
Yes. So they were there. It was around 6 in the evening. And he tells me, he's like, I need to talk to your parents. And Brandon wrote a letter. And I said, are you going to do it tonight? He's like, oh, I'm going to do it. He's like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I was like, okay. So I went inside and I told Isaac, my brother, I said, hey, listen, I need you to translate for us. He's like, okay. And then I went and told Dad and Mom, hey, Brandon wants to talk to both of you. And again, Daddy went,
This was a big moment.
That was always his response.
Very big moment. Very serious.
So he's sitting outside. Mom, it's a woman that prays for everything. If I can honestly say that if I call Mom and tell her, Mom, I need you to pray for this, Mom will stop what she's doing and she goes to prayer. And she believes in prayer, and that's the way she was raised, and that's the way she raised us. And I wish I could be a little bit more like her in that aspect, but she is a woman, a true woman of God that believes in prayer.
Yes.
So she had been praying for us, without us even knowing. So Brandon has a letter. He said, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to both of you. And
I remember they stood right in front of the house.
They were sitting down. We had to sit them down.
Oh yeah.
We sat them down.
Or we were standing there.
We were standing there because he wanted me to stand right next to him while he's reading this letter. I'm like, can you put me like in a very awkward
Oh, I was so nervous reading that letter.
spot? So anyways, he starts reading the letter, and I saw Mom, she starts crying, and Dad, basically he described me as his wife and describing everything, what he had prayed for and what he was going to be for me. And I remember when he finished the letter, he said, so I want to ask you if you would give me your daughter's hand. And he's a crier. My husband cries a lot. And anyways, sorry, I lost my thought. He finishes the letter, and at this time Mom is crying, and Dad looks at her, at Mom, and he says whatever she says. But Dad had a knot on his throat, like he wanted to cry too. And then Mom spoke up and she said, it is too soon. It is too soon. When she said that, I was like, well, what's all the tears about, you know? She said, but she said, I have been praying for the both of you. Oh, I have chills.
Oh, I feel it.
And she said, and I have been praying to God, asking him to show me if he was the man for you. She looked at me and told me. And I told God that if he was the man for you, that he was going to tell me this and this and this and this and this. And the words that my mom had prayed for were the same words that Brandon had written in that letter. Yeah. So they gave us permission to get married. Brandon, of course, we still had some situations to fix. He came back to South Carolina, came back. The Lord, this is going to be a testimony. I want him to share his testimony. I'm not going to go into details. But the Lord worked out that he did not have to serve any time. He came back in September. July, he was only here 2 months. He came back in September. And then by October, we were legally married.
October the 19th.
October the 19th of 2006. And then after that, my sister had her quinceañera in December. And then in January, we got married.
The 20th.
Through the church. January the 20th, we got married through church. And I'm telling you, God blessed us. A lot of things were donated to us, from cake to decorations to food to just you name it.
We couldn't believe it.
We were blessed. We were blessed
Somebody
with
paid
people.
for the limousine.
Yeah, everything. The night before. The night before our wedding, this person asked me, how are you going to church? And I said, oh, I'm just going to use my dad's blue van. And she said, no, you're not. And she called a limousine place, and they
We didn't hardly have to pay for nothing.
anything. So that's how God worked things out.
And there were like 200 people there.
Mm-hmm. Or more.
More.
We had to add chairs at the end.
Large.
It was only my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, my 2 nieces, and then the rest was just my family.
I remember we were smiling so much.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't forget that my jaws hurt. I had smiled so much.
Yes. So the Lord blessed us with that, and then in April of 2007, we moved to South Carolina. It was a big change for me. It was a culture shock, but I'm blessed to be here. Yes, I'm blessed to be here. I'm honored to be with my wonderful husband of 15 years now. Through ups and downs, God has been faithful.
And I'm so thankful for my wife that she, was willing to follow the Lord and follow me over here. knowing that it was going to be a big difference,
Yes.
a big change for her. But yes, we went through a lot of ups and downs, like any marriage. But you know what? God has been faithful,
Yes, He has.
and He has taught us so much, although we still have lots to learn. But He's taught us a lot in the last 15 years, and
Yes.
and that's to put Him first.
Amen. So,
And I love her more than I did the first day that I met her.
yeah. So we're thankful that you guys stopped by to watch this video. We hope you guys, more than anything, that we are a blessing to your life. We pray that we will continue through this journey in our marriage and to grow more in the Lord. Please don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and if you turn your notifications on. And we hope you guys have a great evening. I think my girl, come here, Abby. Abby wants to say bye. Come here.
Yes, I think she's coming.
Asher's actually right now
Yeah, I'm about to go pick him
pick him
up.
up from
He just came
lacrosse.
from out of town to a lacrosse game.
All right, so we hope you guys have a great evening, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.
Have a good night.